Hi guys. So I'm gonna answer this frequently asked question, I guess. Some of you have been following me for a long time on Instagram, and some of you know that I was doing figure skating at a professional level. So yes, I was a skater that went to nationals, did a lot of provincials, a lot of competitions. Like, it was some real shit. So a lot of you guys have been asking me, why did I quit skating? And these are kind of the main reasons, and some of them I cannot spill the tea. The first reason why I chose to quit skating was time management. During the last 2 years, was it 2 years? I'm not sure. I think it's 1 year. I don't remember. Anyway, I started college. And as you guys know, college is a lot of work, a lot of, some of us do not live next to our dream college. So I was not living close by. So it took me an hour to get to school, but I had to get there before. So I always planned to be 30 minutes early at school. So I left very early in the morning since I always had morning classes. So there you go. That's 1 hour taken out of your day to go to school. And then when I go to school, I have a morning class, which is, depending on which class it is, it can be anywhere from 3 hours to 4 hours. It depends. So let's say an average 3.5 hours. And then when I get out of school, I don't even have time to sit down and eat lunch. Immediately had to go to skating. And it took me an hour and a half, probably an hour 45. I do not remember correctly, but it took a long time. I was hungry, so the only way I would eat was on the bus. And yeah, every day was like that all week. There were days that the schedule didn't work, so I would have class later on in the afternoon and I would go skating in the morning. And here's the thing, when I go skating, I do not live close by once again. I had to do transportation, which was 2 hours and 30 minutes. And sometimes my ice rink, the schedule would start at 8. I had to wake up. I take a long time to get prepared, to be honest. So I would get up maybe 4:30, and then I would get up, get prepared, eat a little bit, and then hit the road. I had to take the bus, take the metro, and then take another bus, etc. Then I would get to the ice rink, get warmed up and then everything, and then suddenly it's 8 a.m. and then I have to get on the ice, and then I run around, I do whatever I need to do, and most of the time my coaches could not be there, so I was training alone in the morning. And then when I'm done, I pack my bags, I leave, and I go to school. And it's another an hour and a half, and I eat in the bus again. Then when I get to school, study, and then I would go out at 6 p.m. And then, I would be dead exhausted. Honestly, I'm thinking about it now, I'm tearing up because it was so hard. And on top of that, I needed to find a job. So I found a job, which was not close to my house, was an hour away. I did that in the weekends. And, I would do it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And we always ended really late because I was working at a restaurant in the evening. So some shifts would end at midnight and some end earlier, but it really depends on if the clients stay over or not. So I did that because my parents could not really help me with my education and my skating, so I had to help myself. Not gonna lie, my coaches really helped me. They really wanted to push me to go further, reach my whatever I wanted. Literally, they pushed me, they helped me. I don't know if I'm supposed to say it, but they did help me financially because they genuinely cared. And honestly, I can't thank them enough because without them, I would not be I wouldn't have skated for a full 14 years. But eventually it just like I couldn't take it anymore. So that happened. That's the first reason, time management. And when I would end school, I would have to go back home, which is another transportation issue, which like it was so hard. And then when I got home at 8, I unpacked my bags to start doing my assignments, and then I would take a shower. I didn't even eat yet. When I'm done with some assignments, I would go eat a little bit and then come back, like do a few more. But then like time passes by so quick, and then it was like suddenly it was already like 3 a.m. and I was like, oh shit, I need to like go to sleep, but I couldn't because I wasn't done. So I would continue on, and eventually it was unhealthy. And yeah, it was really hard. Like, to be honest, I don't know. Maybe I suck at time management, but at the same time, I couldn't do better because I did my best. Second reason why I left skating was money issue. Yes, skating is not a cheap sport. That sport, let's talk about it. The more you go up in the levels, the more it costs you, like competition-wise, costume-wise, choreography. The coaches have to be paid, of course. The ice rink has to be paid. The subscription, or I don't even know. Like, there was so many costs. I don't even know how my mom has paid all of that on her own. Like, honestly, thank you. But, you know, eventually we ran out. Like, we dead ass ran out of money. So I was like feeling this really big pity for my mom. So I was like, I don't even know. Like, it's so much money. Like, we could use that money into other things. Like, you know, she could buy herself a nice t-shirt or something. But instead, she would spend that money onto me. I know that wearing a Chanel necklace is not doing justice to the reasoning I use for money, but do know that my mom got it a long time ago and she gave it to me. And yes, we had money once. Leave us alone. And, you know, I felt guilty the whole time. So that's another reason. And, you know, I felt too bad. So I just found myself a job. I try my best to, you know, sorry, it's so hard, but I try to support my mom, and eventually told her to stop paying and I would just pay on my own. So, you know, maybe, I know, I know my situation's not the worst, but it was still hard for me to see other people complain about other things, like, oh, like I got a chip nail that cost so much money. And I was like, okay, but your parents are paying for that. Like, so yeah. And then the third reason was I had a lot of drama towards the end of my career. I've lost a lot of friends. They turned their back on me and they never came back. So when you're in skating, there's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of competition. It's very, honestly, skating is a very toxic environment. There's a lot of things that are not told to the public, so you guys don't know. But skating is not a wonderland. Does that even make sense? I'm not sure. Anyway, it's not like all unicorns, rainbows, everything's pretty. No, it's very toxic. There's a lot of things that I cannot say. There's a lot of things that I'd rather keep to myself because, once again, I don't want to start drama and I do not want those people coming back to me and potentially maybe attack me. I don't know. Just know I have made a lot of connections. Some friends have been my friend for 8 fucking years. And they threw that out of garbage because I switched a club. Switching clubs is a frequent thing in a figure skater's career because some people, like the coaches, are not helping anymore. So what do? You seek other resources, and that's exactly what I did. I do not want to name names, But I do have a coach that was very close to my heart, and I still talk to him till this day. And I do see him as a father figure that is not related to me, but I love him dearly. And honestly, if you see this video, thank you so much. I love you. Like, I really do. He meant so much to me. He was the one that was always helping me, and he always supported me. And you know, he lived close to my school, and he always offered like, hey, like if you're not able to wake up the next morning, just come and like stay at my house for like a little bit, and like, you know, you can go to school and it's closer. I was like, yeah. And you know, I never wanted to bother him, so I did not do that, and I just kept on going. You know, there's a lot of things that went on, and it affected my mental state, and it wasn't healthy anymore. So the fourth and final reason why I quit skating was because I had very bad depression. And the last year that I was skating, I was supposed to go to nationals, but I ended up not going because I contracted a mononucleosis. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, I'm sorry. But basically, I couldn't get out of bed properly, and the doctors told me I've had it for several months, and I was training while I had the symptoms, and the symptoms were like, you're always fatigued, like you're very exhausted, and during that time you're not supposed to do anything and just rest. But I did not know that I had that symptom, so I was always beating myself mentally, and I was always putting myself down because I thought, like, why are you so bad right now? Like, why can't you skate like you used to? Like, I was training very hard. Like, to be honest, I am not making bullshit right now. I remember going to like training, and I was constantly jumping. I was like, why can't I do it properly? Like, I'm doing everything, I'm always there, I'm like passionate about skating. I don't understand why I can't do it anymore. And then eventually depression hits. I couldn't help it. So I was always negative. I couldn't do anything. Training was not fun anymore. I didn't want to be in an ice rink. Like, it was too much for me to handle. And I didn't want to talk to my mom because my mom, you know, she's Asian. So, you know, if you don't perform well, she would scold you like, oh, like you spent so much money, so much time, and you're skating like this. What a disappointment, you know? And I didn't want to make her upset. So I never told her. Like, I never told her that I was upset. I would always come back home and be like, oh, you know, training was hard a bit today, but it was good overall. Every day. And then when I would go compete and fall, and then I didn't get the results I wanted, I would just say like, oh, well, I worked hard for it, so then maybe next time will be better. But it never got better. And then I got diagnosed, and then it explains why I was always tired and I couldn't run my programs as easily as I used to. And my coaches didn't know, so they just pushed me, and they were like, are you willing to skate anymore? But you know, I felt so guilty. And then one day I collapsed, and I was like, I need to go to the hospital. And then there you go. They were like, you have the mono, and you've had it for several months, and you've been training with it. It's gonna take a while to recover. So during that time, I took off from skating. Skate Canada, they removed my name, and they sent another skater to replace me because I withdrawn from the competition, obviously. So I was watching the nationals from my bed. I was very upset because I was like, that guy right there, he took my place, and I could have went there, but I have this stupid condition, so I couldn't perform. I felt very upset, definitely. I was devastated, I guess. Like, as a skater, going to nationals is a big thing. It's like your chance to go international. Like, it's there that Skate Canada is looking at the skaters and you're like, okay, you're going to international, you're going to international, you're going to international. That's where they look. And my goal for that year was I wanted to get to the international level. Unfortunately, I couldn't do that. Anyway, so depression hits, and then I'm just laying down in bed. I was in bed for a month or two. Couldn't do much. Like, I was always home watching TV, YouTube. When I felt better, I did some little K-pop dance covers and I posted them on Instagram. I had a lot of time to do nothing but just think. And then eventually it got into my head. I was like, should I quit skating? And I answered my question, of course. I said, yeah. So, a lot of reflecting, like, I've reflected a lot on this question, and I came to a conclusion that I did not do skating for myself anymore. It felt more as an obligation, because my mom has invested so much money. A lot of people have invested a lot of their time and effort onto me. So I felt a lot of pressure on me. I think every skater can relate. Like, honestly, you guys can relate. A lot of pressure on us. And letting it go, it's like letting your life go. Because I was born, and at 3 years old, I was like, okay, we're skating already. And I skated until I was 17. Yeah, I'm 18 now, so it's been a year. So yeah, I was 17. I've been doing that for 14 years. 14 years is not little. It's a lot of your life. 14 years, I was always on the ice rink every day for at least 3 to 4 hours, or even 5. And sometimes I would come back home and train more. Like, I was one of those skaters that would train extra hours at home. And imagine, with the first reason I said, fit it in your schedule. I had to do it. I had to fit everything into my schedule. So there were times that I didn't sleep, and I would repeat the same thing. I would go to school and then skating and then come back home, do the same thing. It was always on repeat, and then eventually I just broke down. And yeah, so I did all of the thinking. I told myself I wasn't doing it for myself. I was doing it because I was being pressured to do it. I felt pressured to do it. And then I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. And I found a passion for dancing, which was something I was really good at when I was skating, like artistically and choreography. Like, that was like my main, how do you say it? Like, the strong points of my skating. It was always like I was the best dancing and like fluidity of my movements. I enjoyed a lot dancing on the ice and out. So when I created my Instagram account and I did the K-pop dance covers, I just fell in love with dancing, and I was like, you know what, I love doing K-pop. And then eventually it turned out that the same year there was East-West auditions. So without my parents knowing and without my coaches knowing, I went to do the auditions and I passed. So when I passed, I told my mom and I told my coaches, and then that's when I broke off the news, like, I don't want to skate anymore. And it was really hard to tell them because I felt guilty for quitting skating. But they took it really well. They kind of wanted me to think about it more. Like, come skate till the end of the season and try to think if you want to still do it, because it's a big decision. I did that. I I went to the skating rink till the end of the season. Every day I felt like I was trapped. I was like, I don't want to skate anymore. I want to go home. So they realized that there's no going back. Like, I really didn't want to skate anymore. And also, at 17 years old, I'm pretty much considered old for not doing international competitions, because the little 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds are like kicking my ass, like literally kicking my ass. So that was another reason. Yeah, I felt too old. I felt too old for skating. So I just quit. And there you go. You have a big ass conclusion of why I quit skating. And now I am happily, that made no sense. Now I am a happy little kid that goes to college and works and dances when he has time. And now time management is really, it's easier now. And I get to go out with my friends. I get to have friends too. I forgot about that. When you're skating, you basically have no social life because you're always in the ice rink, you're always at home, you're always at school. So you never get to go out. Like, you can't even go. I couldn't even go downtown because I was so exhausted. I was like, oh, I don't want to go out. So I just stay home when I'm tired. So that's another thing. So we didn't really get a social life that I have now. So now I can go out with my friends. I can go out to drink. I can go out to shop. I can do whatever I want now. So I'm very happy with my decision. It was healthy for me to quit skating because it was bringing me down a lot. And I don't think I could last another 5 years. Honestly speaking, I could not. And yeah, there you go. Thanks for watching. Bye.